This is TechCrunch.
ByteDance and TikTok filed an emergency motion on Monday asking an appeals court to temporarily block the law that would ban TikTok in the U.S. unless the social network divests from Chinese ownership by January 19th. The companies are asking for the hold in order to give the Supreme Court a chance to assess the case. Reuters reports that the companies warned in the motion that without the order, the law will go into effect and shut down TikTok, one of the nation's most popular speech platforms, for its more than 170 million domestic monthly users on the eve of a presidential inauguration. The companies filed the motion a few days after a federal appeals court unanimously voted to uphold the sell or ban law. TikTok responded to the ruling by saying it believes the Supreme Court will protect Americans' right to free speech. TikTok may also get a lifeline from President-elect Donald Trump, who promised voters that he would save the popular social media app if elected. A U.S. breast screening program claims to demonstrate the potential benefits of using artificial intelligence (AI) in mammography screening, with women who paid for AI-enhanced scans 21% more likely to have cancer detected. DeepHealth, an AI firm owned by radiology giant RadNet, presented its findings at the annual meeting of the Radiological Society of North America, RSNA, detailing 747,604 women who underwent mammography screening over a 12-month period. Overall cancer detection rates were 43% higher for those enrolled in the program compared to those who weren't. However, some of the women also opted to have U.S. Food and Drug Administration compliant AI software applied to their mammograms at their own expense, serving as a second set of eyes to help radiologists spot anomalies in mammography screenings. The findings suggest that 22% of the overall cancer detection increase was due to the fact that higher-risk patients were more likely to enroll in the program to begin with, implying selection bias, but its analysis concluded that the remaining 21% was due to the use of AI in driving recall rates for additional imaging. This is far from conclusive, though, and the researchers are now seeking to better quantify the benefits of AI in this context through randomized controlled trials. Apple is being sued over its decision not to implement a system that would have scanned iCloud photos for child sexual abuse material, CSAM. The lawsuit argues that by not doing more to prevent the spread of this material, it's forcing victims to relive their trauma, according to the New York Times. The suit describes Apple as announcing a widely touted improved design aimed at protecting children, then failing to implement those designs or take any measures to detect and limit this material. Apple first announced the system in 2021, explaining that it would use digital signatures from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children and other groups to detect known CSAM content in users' iCloud libraries. However, it appeared to abandon those plans after security and privacy advocates suggested they could create a backdoor for government surveillance. The lawsuit reportedly comes from a 27-year-old woman who is suing Apple under a pseudonym. She said a relative molested her when she was an infant and shared images of her online, and that she still receives law enforcement notices nearly every day about someone being charged over possessing those images. Attorney James Marsh, who is involved with the lawsuit, said there's a potential group of 2,680 victims who could be entitled to compensation in this case. TechCrunch has reached out to Apple for comment. A company spokesperson told The Times Apple is urgently and actively innovating to combat these crimes without compromising the security and privacy of all our users. In August, a 9-year-old girl and her guardian sued Apple, accusing the company of failing to address CSAM on iCloud. When it comes to market capitalization, NVIDIA is currently the second biggest public company in the world, behind Apple. That's why all eyes are on NVIDIA these days. And now, as Bloomberg spotted, China Central Television, a public TV broadcaster, is reporting that China's market regulator has opened a probe into NVIDIA's acquisition of Mellanox. If that name doesn't sound familiar, in 2019, NVIDIA spent nearly $7 billion to acquire Mellanox, an Israel-based company working on high-performance chips for supercomputers. The Chinese government approved the acquisition in exchange for several commitments. Among other things, NVIDIA and Mellanox promised that they would share information about new products with NVIDIA's rivals within 90 days of release, Similarly, NVIDIA also agreed to let Chinese chip makers test their products with Mellanox's technology in order to make sure that they work well. NVIDIA is currently in an uncomfortable position, as Washington has implemented restrictions on semiconductor manufacturers, including NVIDIA. They can't sell their most advanced AI chips to Chinese companies. This has led to retaliations from the Chinese government. For instance, China banned some sales of Micron products following a cybersecurity probe. Today's investigation seems to be the latest twist in the ongoing economic conflict that opposes China and the U.S. over key technologies, including state-of-the-art GPUs for generative AI training and inference. Financial analysts estimate that the top 7 big tech companies will report profit growth of 18% in 2025. But if you remove NVIDIA from that group, profits will only grow by 3% in 2025. That shows how important artificial intelligence has become for economic growth. Last week, the Biden administration announced wider trade bans on advanced technology, with a specific focus on chips that can be used for military equipment and artificial intelligence. Nikola Corp, a producer of battery and hydrogen electric trucks, has taken several steps to repay its debts and raise equity, including offering up to $100 million in a common stock sale. The beleaguered company is still dealing with the aftershocks of its founder, Trevor Milton, being convicted of fraud for making exaggerated claims about the company's electric truck technology. Milton is currently on bail while he appeals his conviction of a 4-year prison sentence and must pay Nikola a penalty of $167.7 million. The drama has damaged the company's reputation, which has led to a loss of investor confidence, financial troubles, and increased scrutiny of its operations. Nikola produced and shipped 203 trucks to date this year, a record for the company, but it did so at a $481 million net loss. The truck maker has set a goal to sell 300 to 350 of its FCEV hydrogen electric semi-trucks by the end of 2024. Nikola's filings with the Securities and Exchange Commission Monday show a company that is trying to strengthen its financial position, but in doing so will likely dilute existing shareholders. Nikola intends to use the proceeds from the $100 million sale for working capital and general corporate purposes. Nikola noted that it will invest most of the proceeds in short and medium-term financial instruments, but may also use some of the cash to acquire or invest in a complementary business, assets, or technologies. The company also filed Monday to resell up to 34.2 million convertible note shares, which would allow note holders to convert their debt to equity and sell the resulting shares. While this wouldn't create any cash flow for Nikola, it would give note holders an exit strategy and access to liquidity. Nikola last week managed to secure $65 million by selling stock to holders of its convertible notes, which temporarily increased the conversion rate for those notes until January 31st, 2025. The current conversion price for note holders is about $3.12 per share, whereas Nikola's stock opened at $1.46 per share, which is down nearly 10% from pre-market trading. As Nikola works to secure cash flow, it is also trying to get a handle on its debts. In the 9 months ending September 30th, Nikola recorded $656 million in total liabilities. The company appears to have chipped away at $39.4 million of that balance after fully repaying its Series B1 notes from an agreement dated August 19, 2024. That's all for now. For more stories like this one, visit TechCrunch.com.